I am Chris Carolan, co-founder and head of revenue for Conveying Your Message.
And I'm Selim Maalouf, co-founder and head of content.
We have a combined 25 years in the manufacturing space. We both started out technical backgrounds. Selim's a trained engineer. I started out as a bench chemist, and we found our way over to marketing, sales, digital, HubSpot land, and love every minute of it. Today, we're going to talk about what the current customer experience looks like from the perspective of post-sales order management and order tracking and order status, what we're up to with our delivered solution. And then we're going to open it up for really Q&A, some demo time. Kyle's gonna get involved, and we're gonna have some fun, showing off the tools inside of HubSpot. Just some quick disclaimers. You're gonna see customer order and order used interchangeably today, in the sense that orders as a function inside of HubSpot is already here. Right now, it behaves as a container for data related to these three integrations. And much in the way, if you remember when invoices started appearing, you could only access it through QuickBooks. That's kind of what orders is right now. And there's two ways to unlock it. One is if you're using one of these integrations. Another one is if you're using a product history card, which is a private beta. I highly recommend if you are tracking any kind of closed won deals that have attached line items. But when you open that up, you'll get this screen and you won't be able to move any farther. So that's orders. So in anticipation of that, we are using customer order as a custom object. And that's what you're going to be seeing today. Customer portal versus delivered portal. We are not using any of the structure, tools, anything related to the native customer portal that comes with your Service Hub instance today. I have the screenshot. Most customer portals out there are built for support tickets, reaction, break fix, help desk stuff. That's not what we're talking about today. Again, we're trying to be proactive, give a self-service information related to order status, order history, stuff we think customers are looking for. So that's what we see on the right. And that is our delivered portal. And just wanted to make that differentiation. Not going to go through all these. Some key things that we're doing. Again, not everything you're seeing today is native, is using HubSpot functionality. The keys to note are CMS Hub Enterprise, primarily to take advantage of membership functionality and custom objects. Also, Operations Hub Pro is involved for some custom coded workflow actions.
So the current customer experience in the B2B space, especially in the industrial and manufacturing where supply chains can significantly affect your lead times, visibility is lacking after the customer pays. Very few of the widely adopted tools can provide a B2C experience in B2B. But here at the Admin HUG, we know that HubSpot is that tool, and we're going to be showing you how it can be done in a time and cost-efficient way. It's as simple as providing a Domino's pizza tracker for the B2B experience. Why it's important is because the modern customer-facing teams are getting crushed. Expectations have been set by the consumer space, by the likes of Amazon, who provides an easy experience that shows you all the information on each item in your orders. These expectations that are being set during our consumer time are being brought into the business world. And to be honest, why wouldn't they? During COVID, the B2C side has shown us the possibility of addressing uncertainty through constant communication. So when lead times become unreliable in B2B, customers get frustrated. They can reach you from anywhere, through emails, calls, even on social media. Modern social media managers know the pain. And reps are now being inundated and overwhelmed, leading to revenue loss that manifests through missed orders in the email inbox. Everybody here is a super admin of sorts who has done their best to make things work inside of HubSpot. Fairly recently, HubSpot added line items, and sales teams were very excited, but order management teams quickly realized that they are not what they expected for post-sale management. Order management teams need not just an instance of a product, but a full-fledged object that can be managed independently, especially for physical products that will be shipped. These teams need to document and track all communications for each individual line items, as a cover your behind kind of situation. So I would like to ask everyone here who has tried to make line items work beyond something that can support quote creation once a deal becomes serious and ready to quote. If you have, you will know that bulk line item management is fairly tedious. You cannot update line items through imports or through automations. You can only create new line items. So updates are either done manually or through the API. I see a lot of people in the chat saying that they've tried. You know the struggle. You know how hard it is. In fact, Chris and I, we've worked together before we joined forces here at Conveying Your Message, and we've been in a lot of instances where we had to update bulk line items in the thousands. And believe me, even me, as someone who's very adept at spreadsheets, even then, that was a really impossible task to implement in a permanent way.
Yeah, and I did my best to be a good admin and not create a custom object for something that already exists in the system. Uh, Kyle was one of the people I talked to before I went down this route to make sure, like, is there any way we can do this? I'm not seeing it here. Like, even the ERPs that we're working with, just the way that they set up line items, which the more I learn about this makes sense. Like, line items are built to be this kind of malleable thing, especially in HubSpot, to where each time you see them and edit them, they become a new thing, right? And they're not connected to the old thing. So once I gave myself permission, and through the permission of others, to create a deliverable object, all of a sudden, the world opens up as far as how you can manage this stuff post sale. So we already talked a little bit about the order object. Saw some people in the chat saying, they have sales orders, other things, because this is always what happened. It just hasn't happened in HubSpot. Like, after a deal closed one, the next step is almost always order, right? If it's going into another system for fulfillment. And I think something interesting that might not get into today, but as you start to see what we're building here, and as HubSpot goes full customer platform mode, right? We don't necessarily always have to go the route of making HubSpot match the ERP, right? And other systems outside of it. If we can do customer communications well in HubSpot, let's give that data model some credit and see how we can, combine with other systems effectively. So we designed the deliverable object to be a catch-all for all goods. That's why I chose the name Deliverable. I feel like in most cases, if you receive or if you give somebody money for product, service, whatever, what you get in return can almost always be classified as a deliverable. So that's the idea here. And using custom object pipelines is a way that we think you can use this kind of catch-all object, and sometimes I refer to it as the customer success object, that you can use it in a way where you don't have to create a different custom object for every type of product or service that you sell, right? We're using the pipelines to differentiate that. And since we can use those pipelines, we can set up different stages for how whatever kind of project management or manufacturing process that needs to be done. And these are the kinds of things that this data is already happening in systems like ERPs. There just hasn't been a place for it to come over. And if we can bring it over into HubSpot, all of a sudden it makes it a lot easier to communicate it, with our customers. So this whole idea of a B2B, pizza tracker, all of a sudden becomes very real, because we usually know where the data is, and now we have a place for it connected with CMS. There you go. So before I go through the process real quick, just want to check, haven't been monitoring the chat real well. Is there any questions out there? We good to keep going?
Looks like you're good. You have a lot of people agreeing with you, the pain that you're explaining. So I think you're good.
Sharing their workarounds and
Yes.
Yes. Oh, thank you for highlighting that. That is one of our goals with all of this, right? Like, I applaud everyone for their creativity when it comes to, deals and tickets in trying to handle these things. But the way we look at it is deals are for sales management. That's how they're designed. That's how they're meant to work within the system. If you receive an order or you have to manage an order and there was no sales management process, why are we trying to force this into deals? Right? Same way with tickets. It's a very reactive help desk type of thing. So let's not do that. Same thing with ERPs. These are not they're not meant to manage customer communications. So let's not ask those systems to do what we're trying to do here, right? So this is, what I see when I think of customer platform and where HubSpot's going. Like, customer communication is that thing that's going to differentiate businesses from a customer experience perspective. And if you can do that, which you can now, you have the tools. It's just about the decision to do it. So real quick, I've got some kind of analytics event, form fill, phone call, email, creates contact and company object, leads into the deal process, creating a deal object, with some line items. Line items can be usually supported by the product library, but we can make up custom line items on the fly as well. And again, once line items are attached to the deal, they're like kind of severed from the product library. And any kind of edits we do are not going to be looking back at the product library for reference. Same goes for when you create quotes and basically anywhere, payment links, anywhere that you're adjusting line items, it's like a new version of that thing existing in the system. And that helps immensely with the sales process and customer experience of buying. It makes it a lot less friction. So we need that to do that thing, but that's why it can't do these other things that we need post-sale. So we have some line items. If they're ready to pay, got a purchase order, credit card, whatever, we can move forward on a closed won deal. We're creating an order record and a set of deliverable records that are matching the line items that were on the deal at the time of closed won, 1-to-1 right now. So 5 deliverables equals, or 5 line items will equal 5 deliverables. Deliverables will be associated to orders and the primary contact on the deal. Okay. So very quick run through the process. Now I'm gonna kind of get into the demo. Any questions before I jump in there?
I don't think so.
All righty. Let's see if we can do this. All right. So I'm in our HubSpot on a contact record. This is the product history card that I'm talking about, still in private beta, I believe. And because this guy is such a loyal customer, he's done all these deals with us. We see he's got a product history here. And actually lots of product history. And this is the kind of thing that we'll share some videos and other resources after this. When you're helping a customer live on a call, like, this is truly in a place where this can be the home base for you. Kyle mentioned the upcoming CRM card session, right? This is going to be home base, and you should be able to get all of your information from this one place. And when you can do that, it makes time. Like, so instead of, trying to find all this information, you can start providing value and context like right away for the customer. Making sure you're rapport building and stuff like that. So let's say, Chris calls in, wants to place a new order. We click add deal here. And now we're going to add a line item. And let's say we want another one of these that we like so much. Going to create. That brings us into the deal. And now we've got line items. Going to come over here, go to closed one, give it a couple of seconds. And as I do that, I'm going to show like this is our portal view. So these are all current orders before I did that. So let me just put this over here so we can switch back and forth. I'm going to refresh the screen. So now we have our customer orders here, and we click into that. And we have our deliverable that was created off of a custom coded workflow, as well as the customer order. And now, over here, refresh, we've got our new order on the bottom here. And if I click into here, I have, tracking related to, like we just received the order. So it's an open stage. Click see some details, and we got some auto loading dates right now. So pretty straightforward. I'll just show one more thing as we click on the deliverable and say move it through our process here. Let's say it's in production, and now we see that updated on the tracker. A little bit behind the scenes here. Since I'm over here, just look at edit page using some tokening here. And this is a module. And the thing I love about CMS Hub, which is really where the power comes from when you start to connect it to the CRM, is I could put this module on any page on the site, right? And it's automatically going to pull from the place in the CRM that we have right now. One thing to highlight is, let's say you serve a diverse client base, and for me right now, as I log in, I'm seeing fields because I'm on a list that's referred to as manufacturing. I'm classified as somebody who's in the key market of manufacturing. So that's why I see ship date and some other fields that might be more relevant, as we get into things like shipping addresses and stuff like that. Makes sense for that group who's shipping around, hard goods. But right now, if you look at default, let's say come into here, we've got our settings. So easy to match your, branding. And again, this is CMS Hub, and it's on a subdomain. So whether you have a website in HubSpot or not, right, you can just add this right alongside of it. And I started thinking earlier today, like, to connect the dot, it's just as easy as like starting a blog if you want to, like right next to, your current website. And I highlight things like that because in my experience, it's always been like, oh, we have this thing already. We have this process already. It will be too hard to change those things. So we cannot do this very easy thing that we all know would be best for the customer, right? HubSpot removes that excuse if you want it to. So again, the hardest thing for most people, I think, is going to be deciding to do this, right? Deliverable properties. This, like when I first started getting to know how this worked, like just the ease of being able to add properties right after I add them in the CRM, and now I can see them on the screen. Like it's just such a beautiful thing. And you saw before, like I wasn't seeing start date, end date, renewal date, which might be like, a SaaS or, agency project type thing that the customer cares about. I wasn't seeing that because I was in manufacturing. Now, all these could be on the same deliverable record, right? But we can control, which ones are being seen via these context, these smart rules, right? Because the other thing we want to solve for, and now we can, is when you have all these different people involved in the sale, like you have a buyer, purchasing agent, project manager, right? They're all gonna have logins. They might all be attached to, the order or the deliverables, but they don't all have to see the same things. Maybe we've got lists for them, right? And last thing I'll show before we get into, actually, I think I'm going to let Kyle show that. Any questions off the top? Went through it pretty fast because it's pretty straightforward at the end of the day. And I can say between the custom coded workflow and this interface that we're looking at here, maybe 30 hours of development total, right? And that's large in part because of how robust HubSpot is as a system overall. And that's not counting the moments where I'm like, oh, it would be cool to have this field on there. Let me go just do that real quick. And it takes 5 minutes, right? There's some HubDB involved here too, because we're using the custom objects that helps manage all the different pipelines and how they're shown. Also supporting our learning center here. But yeah, any questions before we start having some fun with Kyle?
Put me in, coach. Oh, go ahead.
Well, we have a couple people with some trains of thought. So let's see. Nick from Fargo says current train of thought, field service management solution plus portal as a part of our HubSpot builds in lieu of completely separate FSM app. So there you go.
Choo. That is the right train of thought, my friend.
And Alex said, curious, have others had issue with corporate networks filtering the invite to the membership? Because you had, there was a question about are we using the memberships to serve up this information?
Yep. If it's email, so you don't want to talk to me about email, that's for sure. But if anything involves email right now, it is at risk of not working the way you want it to, in my opinion.
And then we do have a couple on the Q&A. And how easy is it for customers to log in? And are we using a magic link?
Pretty easy. So the way the membership works, there's actually a membership email property in HubSpot, and then they get added to a list that's decided, like this is the customer list, or this is the list that we want to see private information. Once they get added to that list, then they will get an email to set it up.
Awesome.
To build on what Nick from Fargo was talking about, what we're showing here at its core is basically custom object in the CRM that is being surfaced on CMS. So any solution that you can think of that you can build on custom objects can be surfaced on the CMS using the memberships and what we've shown today.
And I can tell you, I've been the HubSpot guy thinking everything should be way easier than it is when I go and I see what's happening even in other CRMs, but usually ERPs, websites. And I've been learning more, and you get those answers like, oh, we haven't changed that in a long time, right? Or we can't change fields that easily. Or like the goal here is if we center ourselves around the customer experience that we want, and we know that they want things like ship date, tracking number, all these things that they're calling and emailing about, we only need sometimes 10 to 20 pieces of data, from the ERP system, from the service system, from these other systems, right? We don't need like a full year-long integration project to make this work. And we don't even need a real integration project. So take the people that are answering the phones and answering emails, get one of them to do a download, export file at the end of every day, and then import it into HubSpot. And now all of a sudden you have self-service access. And we built this because as marketers at heart, we want to start doing videos and how-tos and better websites and LMSs. All the people that we need help from, account managers, customer service people, they are getting buried in all these requests, right? That could be handled by self-service. So that's where we came up with this, because I was trying desperately to create time for these people, because I understood that you want to take care of the customers, right? So this kind of uptick in calls and emails, you feel like you're still doing your job by taking care of the customer. But in reality, like, and this is where customers just aren't asking for it really a whole lot in B2B, right? We're used to it from Amazon, but we haven't asked for it a lot because we don't think it's possible. And it is possible. And now instead of answering questions like this, we can start providing real value. So if you introduce this to your organization, I've had this happen to me, there is a concern. Oh, if I'm not the one answering these questions via calls and emails, then you don't need me. No, now you can spend time on real relationship building and real customer success and proactive activities that you're going to have a lot of value doing because you are so ingrained in the customer experience already. So,
And you'll have time to log your deals in the CRM like where we've always been asking you to.
let's not get crazy, Selim.
Love it. All right, Kyle, I think you're up.
All right, here. So excited. My first day on the job. I share my screen. I used HubSpot a little bit in my last role, so I know my way around. Okay, but I'm nervous to take my first customer call.
Yes, and we've brought Kyle in. We brought you in, Kyle, to focus. We've got this new system in place, and we really want to leverage that to focus on customer success. And you had the bright idea of giving a free pizza with every order.
I'm so glad you liked my idea, boss.
I know, it was awesome. So we just got an order from Chris, and we're gonna add. What we want to do is we want to be able to manage this process of creating pizzas, something we've never done before. And go to Christopher Carolan.
Sure. Oh, I see you. Oh, yeah. Okay, I found it. All right. Ring, ring. Chris wants a pizza. Screen
And
sharing
Chris
is
is-
hard, you guys.
And Chris is one of those weird ones that likes Hawaiian pizza. So
Me too. We are getting along so well. We are going to
There we
talk
go.
for hours about how everyone who thinks pineapple should not be on pizza is frankly wrong.
100% wrong. That is correct.
Yes. I
So-
go on and on about this. All right. So
Actually, we're looking to just add this to the recent order.
okay.
So if we scroll down, we see customer orders.
Oh, he has
right?
orders.
And,
Got it.
and
Okay.
the one on the top
The new one.
is the one we just did.
Oh, we are building on the demo you were just doing. Sorry, breaking character.
Yep.
Got it. Yes,
All
I
good.
have found your order, Chris. And I'm going to add a delicious Hawaiian pizza to it.
Yes. So we need to add a deliverable, and we're going to test this out first. So go ahead and name it as you like. But until we do a bunch of setup in our system, we're going to kind of do this manually.
All right, I'm ready.
So let's create deliverable, and we can't share screen at the same time, right? Okay.
No, we
That's
cannot.
okay. So let's fill in delivery date.
Oh.
Or
No, I think Kyle had the right idea. He was choosing deliverable pipeline.
yeah.
Seems like,
let's
is there
do
a pizza pipeline?
Right. We're gonna see there isn't. So to get this one out the door,
First
We're
day
gonna-
on the job, everything's going wrong.
we're gonna call it a project.
Oh, okay. Pizza project. Love it.
Yeah. And click apply.
Anything else I need to update before I save it?
Why don't you go ahead and add me as a contact
Oh, all
in
right.
the upper right.
Got it.
So like most things in HubSpot, this process is driven by everything's connected to the contact. You log in, connects to the email. So that's why we did that connect here. And we saved. All right.
So should I stop sharing now?
Yeah. I'll start sharing real quick.
So Chris, I believe if you log into your online account, you'll see the progress of your pizza currently.
And there it is. You are correct. Now, since we have access, at least depending on how your HubSpot's set up, this is Selim alluded to it, a little bit earlier. This is the communication mechanism. So the same thing that's driving deals and tickets, stages, the staging gate process, right? You can literally set up the same kind of text messaging or WhatsApp messaging or emails. Hey, your pizza's at every stage, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing that now that this system is set up, except for maybe some spam filters that we just talked about. So I'm going to hand it back to Kyle.
Okay.
Actually, Kyle, if you can, let's call this done. So go ahead and switch it to delivered on your side.
Delivered.
There's a comment from Nick from Fargo. He's mentioning conditional display logic, and we had talked about mentioning that. So different pipelines will have setups with conditional display logic, and that helps us surface all the required properties. That's the setup that Chris was talking about, and also allows us to, because some people want to create different custom objects versus using pipelines, because you'll have a lot of properties that might not be relevant to some pipelines but relevant to others. And the way we deal with that is also with the newly added conditional logic for properties that HubSpot finally gave us.
Indeed. So did you mark it as delivered?
Just give me a minute. I'm overachieving here. Okay. Back. Here we go. Move it to. Hold on. Oh, I'm on. Sorry. Deliveries. Yes, this one. Sorry. I'm ruining everything by playing around in the background. I didn't realize it was going to come back to me so soon. All right. Here we go.
That's why we love HubSpot.
Okay, now I'll update it. You're gonna hate that you put me in your portal. Did I break it?
You might have broken it.
Oh man! So I added a new pizza pipeline, and it had all these pizza themed stages.
All right. So to explain what happened here, the way we populate the visual side of the CMS is custom object pipelines don't have, unlike deal pipelines and ticket pipelines, etc. They don't have a pre-made ID, and so we're using HubDBs to allocate each pipeline ID with the relevant stages that we need to display. So
okay. I fixed it.
Yes.
Sorry, I just moved it back to project delivered.
All right. There we go.
Right.
As Selim was mentioning, so this is managed. That's the fun part of dealing with custom objects in HubSpot. It's very ID dependent. So each new deliverable pipeline has a set of stages with their set of IDs, and this is different inside of every portal. So HubDB acts as like kind of a bridge between the records, the CRM and the CMS. Okay. Now I'm going to stop sharing because this was so good. I want to be able to reorder it whenever I want, right? So Kyle, given that feedback, we want to add a payment link to that place where I saw to the portal.
Okay.
So since you know your way around HubSpot and we're using properties on the record to surface information on the portal, what do we do?
Well, I know that from see, now this is what we meant. Those of you who came because he said he's going to throw me into the fire, this is the fire I'm being thrown into. If we go back to, so from a deal, from a line item, I don't know. I'll be honest. There are lots of places you can create payment links. You could create one and drop it into a property, but I don't know which property to use.
We're going to create the property.
Oh
so yes.
Oh. When I create a pipeline, it broke stuff. When I create a property, it's okay.
So step one is create the payment link.
Okay, So, do you want like a, well, yeah, we can just go straight to payment links, huh?
Yep.
So you can create a payment link specifically from a deal, but if we want people to be able to reuse this, we're probably this is the best way, huh?
Yep.
We probably don't have a pizza product, huh? Do you want one?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna manage the product library. New product. Just a general pizza product.
Yep. And let's do deliverable type.
What? You said on here somewhere? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And we'll call it project. This is one of the places that you kind of line up with the deliverable pipelines.
Do you want a $0 price?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want deliverable class or
Let's put ship date in there.
down here?
Or actually, let's do tier.
Tier?
Yeah, HUG.
You got it?
And save.
Okay, there it is. Now, all right, we'll go back to payment links.
And the reason I wanted to show this, and as we were preparing for this and trying to figure out how we could let just Kyle in brand new without like everything breaking down, and like the real power in what we're showing here, like the automation, I think is always a bonus, right? If we can get there, right? Let's go ahead and give this $1 price.
All right.
It's not going to let us do $0.
Yeah, I come to think of it, a $0 payment link doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I guess. But
yeah,
we won't get
into purchase orders right now.
Right.
So let's go ahead.
You want anything else set up differently?
Nope.
No. Okay. Pizza.
But the power of the system is that once it's set up, now like this literally, granted, I've been thinking about this use case for a long time, but once I got into HubSpot and tried to do it, since I had all this other stuff set up, it took me like 5 minutes, from idea to on the portal, right? So now we have a link. We're going to add a property.
A deliverable property?
Yep.
Payment link? Or
yep.
Pizza? Yeah, we'll call it payment link. That's cool. Select group. Do you want this single line text? Do you want rich text? What do you want?
We want rich text.
Oh, yep. Well, that's good.
It's worth noting that if you feel like all of this is too manual, we're looking forward to when the Commerce Hub APIs finally become accessible so we can automate this.
Yes, that is true. Sometime in 2024. Fingers crossed.
Thank you. I did nothing. Okay.
All right, let's click into deliverable.
View all properties.
And this is the kind of thing you can already see some previews there, but once you have properties like this that you always want to hit, the middle CRM cards are going to make it a lot easier.
So do you want just the link in here? Or do you want to click here to buy pizza? Ding, ding, ding. How's that?
That's perfect.
Save. All right.
Now I'll do this part since I'm already over here. Let's see. I think we can get this under the wire here. So right now, like not here. To add it, just go to edit. Scroll down, kind of change to manufacturing since that's the one I'm looking at. Deliverable properties, deliverable info, add property, payment link, little internal value here. It is not a date field. Apply changes, update. There we go. Payment link. Click here to buy pizza.
Ta-da.
And now I can check out. And this is going to save some teams like days, like definitely hours, days of activity related to people trying to reorder things that are less than $1,000 and being forced to go through the same quoting process where there's PDFing and I'm calling to give you credit card information. And when this can help like 80% of your customers, we got to try hard not to let things like, oh, we don't want to use Stripe, or like, if we do this, And this is where if your teams are really they say they care about more reorders, more upselling, more cross-selling, more money from customers. This is like 1 week of work max if you don't have HubSpot, right? If you do have HubSpot, you could have it up tomorrow if you really wanted, right? And again, it's just the decision that, hey, we can do this for customers now. So let's do it, right? Because they're going to love it. We can figure out our internal process to match this, but we know this is an experience they want, they'll appreciate, they're going to buy more. They're going to tell other people about the experience. And that's like going to provide a ton of value for the company, not to mention all the time saved from having to do this. So thank you so much, Kyle. And again,
thank you. Thanks for hiring me, giving me a job. It's a pleasure to work
yes.
for someone else whose mouse is also orange.
Well, it's a pleasure having you, and we look forward to all the customer success you're going to create. I know we're running out of time here. Did want to share a couple things before we go, if that's okay. Do we have any questions? Sorry, I'm sure we do.
Yeah, and we have about a minute and a half. So
Okay. Please, hit us up. We're on LinkedIn, but we're super serious about education around customer portal, around manufacturing, around how to do these things that have always been a pain in the ass. Like, we really believe this setups like this, and HubSpot itself now is the platform that all these companies that have been unable to digitally transform, now they can. Like, there's a tool that is affordable, that doesn't take forever to implement, is user friendly. Like, now we can do this stuff. So on that note, got a couple podcasts that we're launching today. We've been doing an Industrial Tech Stack Live. We started last year. We got Scott Brinker coming on February 6th to talk about how to vet these tools. And our effort here is, like, most people do not like their tech stacks. It doesn't have to be that way. So let's start talking about it. Let's raise the level of conversation, and let's make sure our leaders know this is something that can be handled should they choose to handle it. So thankful for everybody here, and I think that's it from us.
all right, and scene. Thanks everyone for being here. This is another great admin hug. Hope to see you all next week, and enjoy your Tuesday.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.